You're listening to Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick in association with Wexford Insurances. Challenge us at Wexford Insurances 0818 31 30 30.
Welcome back to the show. I'm joined in studio now by Mags Boland of Bofin Marketing. Mags, you have vast experience in the marketing sector. How far back does it go?
My own background is a mixture of sales, marketing and PR. I started over 16 years ago in your own hometown of Cork. I'm originally from Limerick myself, and I blow into Wexford the last 2 years. I'm here now, but I'm very much settled. I started out in my professional life working with the media, working with the Examiner Publication Group in Cork, and I stayed with them for quite a number of years. And then I worked in UCC and for the Chamber of Commerce in Cork. Then I spent some time with the construction industry at the height of the boom, which was interesting. And then I progressed. I always did some freelance work. I event managed some big events across the country, including the St. Patrick's Day Parade in Cork and the Saffron Ball on behalf of Kerry and the Special Olympics. So I have a wide spectrum of experience in all those areas. And that's how I started. And now I'm in Wexford. So
since you came to Wexford, you set up Bofin Marketing. What's it all about?
Basically, the reason I set it up was I landed here. I'd always done some freelance work, and clients had often said to me, you should think about doing this for yourself. And when I got the opportunity, then I said, look, I'll bite the bullet and I'll give it a go. I'm very much about providing bespoke and proactive solutions to businesses. So no two businesses are the same. So no two pieces of work I do are the same. A lot of the sectors that I deal with are hospitality and tourism, because that's where a lot of my background would come from originally, where I trained. And also I've dealt with a lot of SMEs and the food industry as well, because they're up and coming. I do a lot of mentoring with the Enterprise Board, and I decided when I set up Bofin Marketing, I decided I wanted to provide real solutions to people to help them. And I like to see businesses grow from the bottom up, which is what I've done a lot of my life. So I enjoy that side of it and just seeing progress being made in the right way.
Excellent. Now, the reasons I've asked you to come in and join us this morning is to talk about women in business. And I know that you have a huge involvement with the Women in Business Network in Wexford. Now, for those that wouldn't be familiar with that network, can you provide us with some information about it, please?
I can indeed. The Women in Business Network was established by the Wexford County Enterprise Board, and Breach Cosgrove and Tom Banville are the two people who've put it together. It's a great initiative because there's quite a lot of independent female businesswomen in the county and in the greater county area as well. And it's a great support system. Basically, they meet on a regular basis. We have events that are scheduled with, information for different businesses to help them progress and to offer support as well. And I got involved because it was one of the first protocols when I started business in Wexford was the Enterprise Board. And this initiative was something that interested me because I was a blow-in, as I said. I didn't know too many people in the area at the time, and it was nice to meet like-minded individuals and to just get a bit more information and share information as well.
So how did you benefit from the Women in Business Network yourself?
I benefited, I suppose, because I realised there's a platform out there for people. I mean, I'm a working mother as well, and it's great to realise, that there are opportunities there to get funding, to get advice, to get a bit of guidance. There is I suppose, a facility for you to ask questions if you need to. And I suppose to make you feel that even though you're trading on your own, you're not totally alone when you are trading on your own. There are other people out there in similar situations to yourself.
As you say, you're a mompreneur yourself. Tell me, how do you balance work and life?
I'll tell you, Karl, it is a juggling act. I have a 2.5-year-old busy bee, Freya, and it is quite difficult because my other half works away, and that can have its own challenges because you're trying to balance home life, childcare, your own working hours. But I have great support from my partner Dave, and I couldn't do it without him. And I think that's important too, to acknowledge that, not to, for a lot of women, it might be seen that we're playing the poor women, but without our partners and our husbands and the men in our lives, we couldn't function or run a business without them if they weren't supporting us and egging us on. But it's a juggling act, but it gets easier, and you just learn to prioritise and focus on what you're at as well, because at times there can be a little battle between the mammy role and the business lady. So that can be, you're trying to reconcile the two. But that it's possible to do that.
For those listening to the show this morning that might have a business idea in their head and are feeling that bit guilty about wanting to pursue an opportunity, what would you say to them?
Don't ever feel guilty. No one will thank you for sitting down and doing nothing about it. If you try, at least you'll know. And, there are support systems out there for you. There's more than just, there is the Women in Business Network is fantastic because it's on your doorstep. And the County Enterprise Board is equally helpful, very, very helpful and very proactive. And that work has to be recognised as well, I think, when I'm speaking to you about the women in business, because they do so much work for business people in general. And I would always say to women, knock on the doors and ask the questions, because everyone that's in business started from nothing, whether they're male or female, but particularly for females, because they may not have the confidence, fear the unknown, not being aware of what is out there for them. And unless you ask, you'll never know. And unless you try, you'll never know. So I always say, give it a shot. You've nothing to lose.
The Women in Business Network, is it for women that are in business already, or can somebody just with the nub of an idea attend?
Anyone can attend. If they have an idea, if it's at the initial stages, if you're well established, it doesn't matter. And some businesses who are well established may have never even thought about this. But because we're still coming out of the recession, and we will be for quite a while, a lot of businesses now have to evolve and change. And coming into something like this might help them, see the wood for the trees in a lot of respects. And, all that, it's you very, very strong, educated women. Every one of them that comes in there with an idea has some life experience, whether it's professional or otherwise, they have something to offer. So anyone that has any bit of an idea or is involved in a business, as I said, should attend. And, you'll be welcomed with open arms.
I do have to say that I can imagine that some women would be intimidated by going along to a Women in Business Network and, meeting 50, 60, 70 feisty business women in front of them, those that wouldn't have any exposure to the corporate world before. How would you answer that?
I think that's a good question. And I think, there's none of us, I'm dealing with the public and with the media and everything for a long time, but I also get nervous, like everybody else, when I'm going into a big room of people. You always have a bit of, you're a bit nervous about it. And that's just, if there'd be something wrong with you if you weren't. If you are nervous and if you don't feel you have the confidence, you can always meet the likes of myself or Breach beforehand. And, we're happy to bring you along as a guest or to introduce you to everybody. I had that feeling of intimidation at one point because, I was after having a new baby. I was moving to a new area. There was a lot of change in my life. And now I was starting a new business. But you just forget about the fear factor and just treat it as you're going along to any other event or opportunity. You're going to meet new people. And every woman in there, the feistiness that is associated with businesswomen, yes, it's there, but it's there with men too. So, if you're going into with that preconception in your mind, wipe it off, wipe it out of your head, because it's totally preconceived, so you shouldn't be nervous at all.
Good advice. Apart from the event itself, what are the other tangible, benefits and other resources available through the Women in Business Network from a practical perspective to help women looking to set a business up?
Well, I'll give you an example of a recent event we had, which was an excellent event that was hosted, and where we had two very, very good speakers. And I have to say, at that event, everyone was permitted a chance to introduce themselves and their business to the whole room in a 2-minute slot, which was great because a lot of people then were able to identify people in other sectors that could help them with their own business. And likewise, the likes of myself, I could identify people that I could possibly help as well or get business from, where there could be a business relationship established. So there is that. There also is a website, Women in Business, and it's open to businesswomen nationwide, but it was established by the Wexford County Enterprise Board. There is work being undertaken at the moment on the site, so it is not fully up to scratch at the minute because it is undergoing a bit of reconstruction. So we load up all the content from different events that are hosted by the Women in Business Network. So you can go to that at any stage and get the same information if you're not unable to attend one of the events.
Do you find that technology has been an enabler to allow women get back to self-employment over the last number of years, with the fact that we now have cloud computing and people can do so much in the comfort of their own home?
Yes, most definitely. And it's all about education as well. And this is another stumbling block for some ladies, you know. So some women who decide to go into business are thinking, oh my God, I don't know how to do the IT side of it or the technical side of it. And likewise, I sat myself down and I was always familiarising myself with different applications as they came on board. And yeah, they are very easy to use when you learn how to. And they do make things easier, you know, from, like you mentioned, the cloud there. And, you know, you can store everything now, no matter where, and it is secure. There should be no reason why something shouldn't be secure. It does make things a hell of a lot easier with the improvement on, you know, the broadband systems and everything like that. It really all pays in the end if you do familiarise yourself with it.
Mags, from your own insights into the Women in Business Network, do you find that there's any particular sectors or industries that the female entrepreneurs are more attracted to or are more appealed to than the likes of their counterparts, the males?
I think a lot of the service industries and also the food side of things as well. The food sector is a huge area for Ireland at the moment. It's going to be one of those areas that's going to get us out of the recession because of the exporting element. I think, yes, and unfortunately with the service industries, you're not always eligible for funding. Because they're structured a little differently. So that's another area that the government need to look at, because services are very, very important to drive business and to drive any of the product-based businesses in the long term. And that's basically what I see at the moment. The other area that I would see that requires an awful lot, and I suppose the tourism sector is an area that I work in quite a bit myself, and it again is a big area that's going to help us get out of this recession. But for a lot of the smaller tourism players, I think entities like Board Fault, you need to start focusing on, you know, coming out and looking at the likes of activity tourism and different options now, because the demographics are changing, and Ireland is a perfect spot for that. And there are plenty of established activity tourism and other alternative tourism options here in this country that need to be, I suppose, worked for as much as the traditional cultural side.
Well, Mags, many thanks for coming to speak to us this morning, and I wish you continued success with Bofin Marketing. If you've just tuned in, you are welcome along to this week's edition of South East Radio's Business Matters with me, Karl Fitzpatrick. You can contact me on Twitter at Karl Fitzpatrick. Coming up after the news, I'll be speaking to Shane Lenihan of Viva Architecture about the current state of the construction sector across County Wexford, so stay tuned.
You're listening to South East Radio's Business Matters with Karl Fitzpatrick in association with Wexford Insurances. Think Wexford Insurances for your business insurance.